How's it going? It's Brian Socha after, the biggest wrestling weekend of the year, WrestleMania, another one in the books, in the rearview mirror, and a lot of people talking. A lot of good stuff coming out of it. We'll have more stuff published, more reports about the weekend coming up. We try to keep it going so you don't suffer from that PWD, post-WrestleMania depression. Everything's gone, so we try to kind of keep it going as long as we can. We'll have some updates and stuff about the show, things you might not have seen, at some point this week. We'll be publishing them as well. If you want to talk wrestling, at The Brian Socha on Twitter, at BTM Wrestling, and by the way, at TheBriansoscia on Twitter, and again, at BTM Wrestling. Always free to talk, and sometimes you might like my opinions, sometimes you might not, but they are opinions, and I like to hear yours as well. I just wanted to review Raw from last night really quick. A lot of good stuff in the show. The biggest, Raw of the year, as people call it. I mean, I feel like that's this new thing. It's the biggest Raw of the year. But, I've always thought that. If you go back to even like WrestleMania 12, I remember the night after, they had a huge show. They debuted people. I want to say Mark Mero debuted on that show. And I think Sable re-debuted with Mark. And I want to say that Mankind did a big angle on that show too. WrestleMania 12 was the first time I probably really realized what an important show the Raw after WrestleMania was in respect of kind of resetting and relaunching a new year. It's the year end of wrestling and a year beginning. And I think that it's so important because you can get new characters off the ground. You get rid of the old storylines. You start the new ones. So they did a pretty good job of that tonight, and they're continuing with some stuff. The show opened up with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman coming out, obviously in a foul mood. If you saw WrestleMania, Brock lost his coveted WWE title, so they're not in a good mood. How could they be? And Paul pretty much says that, or Brock, one of them said it about invoking the rematch clause. And cue Steph's music. Stephanie McMahon comes out and she's talking to them about losing and how the champion, Seth Rollins, was on the Today Show, and he's in flight right now. When he gets back, he'll be up for whatever challenge she's sure. But the first thing I'm thinking is, hold on, wait a second. Seth Rollins wins his first WWE title at WrestleMania in California. What's he do? Hop on a plane? I know these guys travel. I got friends that do it. I know they travel. But hop on a flight after you win your title from WrestleMania, head all the way to the Today Show, which is, I think, New York. You go on there for like a 3 or 4 minute segment, and then you got to fly back for Raw in California from New York. Now, these guys, God bless them. God bless you, Seth Rollins, man, doing what it takes. Wow, think about that. That's insane. Man, I guess you got to do what you got to do. The champ had to show up, so what else he do? But like a 4 minute segment. That's all I saw on today for that big flight. Whatever it is, I guess. So, we're thinking we're going to see that match later on at night. Could be Brock versus Seth Rollins for the title. It's what it's seeming like. Next segment, we move on to Bad News Brown. No, he's not here anymore. Bad News Barrett on commentary for the IC title match. Daniel Bryan, the champion, as of WrestleMania, versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, wrestling fans were salivating for this. I mean, I was too. What a great match it's going to be. You just know these two guys' style. It's going to be a fun match to watch. And it was pretty fun. I know they can do a lot more, and I'm looking forward to seeing if they do a lot more. Daniel Bryan got the win over Dolph Ziggler. Again, fun match. They did that headbutt spot at WrestleMania on top of the ladder, which was like brutal. And then they did the headbutt spot at the end of this match too, which again was brutal. Now, I would like to think they're not totally smashing their heads together because all the stuff we learned about concussions. But even if they're not, I can see some fans and some people complaining, saying that's sending the wrong message because we know so much about concussions and all that they shouldn't even be making it look like they're doing that. But it sure as heck looked brutal to me. It looked great. I'm not going to complain. Look, if you want to do it, that's your choice. That's your art. You want to suffer for it in the long run, then go for it. I mean, that's your thing. I probably wouldn't do it with all the head injury stuff, but it made for an exciting ending, See what else. From there, other than hoping to see them, go at it again, this was the time when Bad News Barrett left commentary after Daniel Bryan got the win and basically just jumped Daniel Bryan. He was about to hit the bullhammer and stuff. And by the way, Bad News, anyone else noticed in the last couple of weeks, this guy has gotten ripped. I mean, I don't know what the heck he's doing or what he's eating or not eating, but he looks great. I mean, he's just phenomenal. He's transformed his whole body. Kudos to him, whatever he's doing, man. Keep it up. But so he attacks, of course, Daniel Bryan, and then here he comes, the new look and all. They've been talking about him coming back and stuff, but we weren't sure when. We knew it was coming. Here comes Sheamus for the save. And, the crowd, they were there for it, but they started these stupid chants. If you didn't see, Sheamus has a new look, which I'm in support of. I think it's a good idea to evolve his character. That's how you're going to be successful in wrestling. The Undertaker did it. You have to evolve. You have to change no matter how successful you are so people don't get bored. So he changed up his hair. He's got that mohawk. He's got the beard thing a little different. He looks good. I think it was a great change for him, a nice evolution. It's probably scary for him because, he's doing something different. And if it doesn't stick, what is he going to do? But he made the commitment. He went out. He changed himself up a little bit. I liked it. I think it looks like he has more of an edge now. It's more real. It's more, I guess, a little scary, for lack of a better term. And I think that the crowd, and I have some problems with the crowd. I know they're having fun, but, there's one thing with having fun and hijacking a show is another thing, and doing stupid stuff. A lot of them are just chanting because they're excited, and that's fine for the sake of chanting. But it gets kind of annoying, and you got to pick your spots. And if you're getting annoyed with me for saying this, you're probably one of the people who I can't stand, so I don't care. Turn the podcast off because it's just so annoying. The guy comes back. The guy has been pretty good in the ring, and he's not lazy or anything, Sheamus. There's no reason to dislike the guy. I mean, if you dislike him because you dislike him as a character, that's fine. But as far as work ethic and everything else, you don't need to dislike the guy. He's coming back. He's got this new thing he's trying to get off the ground. You can boo him. Don't be chanting, you look stupid and stuff like that. Well, what's that going to do? The guy's trying to make a living, livelihood here. Let him make his money. And obviously he cares. He changed his look for you, and that's what you do. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But then he gets on the mic, and I think he was savvy in what he did. He mocked the crowd a little bit, and he just said, I'm back. So, man, a few words, new look, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with Sheamus. I've heard about that Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan feud. I don't know if that's where they're going to go. It doesn't seem like that unless they do something off of this. There's a lot of ways they could go. They could do everything from Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan to Sheamus versus Barrett, Sheamus versus Ziggler. They could do tag match. They could do 4 ways for the IC title. I think the important part is, much like hopefully we'll do with the US title, they're reestablishing the IC title, because the IC title, as younger fans may not know, was huge. It was like the stepping stone to the WWE title back in the day, and somewhere we got off track. So I like Daniel Bryan as champion, giving it credibility, having matches like he did with Dolph Ziggler, giving that credibility. I think that there's such a chance to give the title, the championship, credibility again, and I hope they don't miss the boat on this, because they just could, and it could mean something. It could help them draw money. And there's so many different ways and so many talented wrestlers that could hold this title. Let's see what they do with the IC title, but I guess we'll just have to keep our eye on that one. From there, on Raw last night, we saw, and if I'm leaving anything out, I'm kind of just going through it quickly, but we saw New Day, who the fans were kind of mocking, and New Day teamed up with the Lucha Dragons, new tag team, with Callisto is his name. And I'll tell you about him in a minute. But he's teaming up with Sin Cara to take on the Ascension and Cesaro and Tyson. Cesaro and Tyson, they're always going to look good. The Ascension, that they are what they are. And, Cesaro, I think, has star written all over him. He's so smart, and I think he's got a lot to prove yet to himself, not even to us. I think he does to prove to himself, and I can't wait to see where he goes. The guy, for so many reasons, he should be a top guy. I mean, you can look at his ability, his look, his crazy strength. You see what he did to Mark Henry at WrestleMania? That was insane. You could look at the fact that he speaks a bunch of different languages. That's going to help him be a face of the company. He could definitely do a lot, and I hope he's around for a while. And the guy has an insane love of wrestling, just like Tyson Kidd, that you can it just oozes off of him when you talk about it. Very good guy, great with the media, so I wish the best for him. But let's get back to this match. Lucha Dragons and New Day versus Ascension and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd. Now, Callisto, if you don't know him, you're not familiar, he was down in NXT. This guy's going to be a star, in my opinion. You probably saw a little bit last night. He's going to be the new Rey. They were searching for a new Rey Mysterio, and they were looking for it in Sin Cara, and then the original Sin Cara left, and they put the new guy under the mask. Didn't see that happening. I think they cut bait. They didn't either. The new Sin Cara is good. He's passable, but he's not what they're looking for. Callisto is. Guy is amazing, and you only saw part of what he can do last night. That was nothing. He's going to be very appealing to the kids. They're going to sell new masks. Again, watch, you'll see. Modern-day Rey Mysterio Jr. He'll be the new guy taking over that role. I think we should also talk about Callisto. A lot of stuff you might not know. Like, he debuted only 2006. Wasn't Callisto. He was Samurai del Sol, which is a translation, Samurai of the Sun. He worked, you would think he started doing Lucha Libre, like in Mexico or something. And from what I can tell, from what I know and remember, I don't think he did. I think he actually started in the Midwest on the Indies. I remember him showing up in Dragon Gate, and he was in, I think it was around 2012 when he got into Dragon Gate and stuff. And then it was, I think, same year, I believe, 2012, he got into with Lucha Company, AAA. So he didn't start out, looks like, as a Lucha guy. He just knows that style and I guess was trained in it. I don't think he actually worked over there until he got with AAA, and they repackaged him at some point here as Octagon Jr., after the famous Octagon wrestler in Lucha Libre community. Now, he's been under WWE contract since, I believe it was May of 2013. I could be wrong, but I think that's it. Doing the Lucha Dragons thing in NXT with Sin Cara, and they won the championships NXT tag titles on, I remember this, I believe it was September 11th. That's how I remember it, 2014. And they lost January or February 15th, 2015. Usually you don't want to lose titles, but they're probably happy because that probably showed they were going to move up to the main roster. But Caliesto, the name change, I don't think that really matters because not a lot of people knew him. But it just, again, you saw what it could do. And I'm telling you, the guy's going to be a star. Mark it down on your calendar. Brian Socia said it. You probably already see it. Another reason I want to get back to real quick, Cesaro. I sing his praises a lot. And Tyson Kidd, too. The reason they're so smart is they know what to do. Little things separate them. For instance, the giant swing. 1, 2, you love counting with it, right? Of course you do. That's why last night, I think he got 1 or 2 turns in with it, and then Tyson Kidd drop kicked the guy. They don't want you counting with them. They're bad guys. See, most bad guys don't think about that. They want the crowd doing the chant with them. They feel cool. Everyone wants to be the cool heel. No, nobody wants to be a hated heel anymore. Heels are somebody who you don't like. You want nothing to do with. You can't stand. You can't be around. No good qualities. So you don't cheer for the heels. And I think that's why he cut the giant swing down so the crowd wouldn't get behind him. From there, that was a fun match, and the winners, New Day and Lucha Dragons. The crowd didn't like New Day, or they don't understand what New Day is, I don't think. And it's a shame because those guys are so talented. I don't really understand what's going on with New Day. I don't know if they know. I don't know what WWE's trying to get at with the gimmick. It's not a bad thing. They could probably make it work. They just have to decide which way they're going. Or maybe, and I don't know because I'm not there, the team could take a little more ownership if they're allowed of the gimmick and figure out where they want to take it. And if they're not allowed, they'd be risking their jobs, but maybe they can do little changes here and there until it gets to where they want it to go. That's just a thought with New Day, but I do enjoy the guys, and I don't want to see the fans dislike them. Again, that's a time when the fans and their chants become annoying, and, I grew up with ECW. I was one of the guys that started doing chants, and we chanted when people deserved it, we thought, or when it was a fun chant or creative or funny. A lot of times, I don't think we really chanted about ourselves. That's like a newer thing that didn't happen a lot because it's lame. Let's be honest. And again, if you're one of the people saying, oh, he's a jerk for saying, then turn it off because it's annoying. Stop. If I was one of those guys, if I was Sheamus, I would have turned around, or if I was a New Day, I would have turned around and just said, okay, let me chant at these guys. When they were chanting, you look stupid at Sheamus, I would have said okay, let's look around this crowd. You don't have a girlfriend. You live in your mom's basement. You need to take a shower. There's so many chants that they could do back to you, and they laugh at you because you think you're smart, the people that are chanting, and you're really not as smart as you think. Again, if you're getting offended, this means it's you. If you're laughing alongside with me, then it's not, and you're one of the smart ones. But that's a whole other ball game for another podcast. I do have legs to stand on with that, and I think there's a lot of important points, and I can't hold people accountable because they're just having fun, and I don't think they understand fully. But when I do my podcast, they will, and then hopefully we can move from there. Speaking of moving on here, I believe next, I'm trying to think what was the next thing. They had the thing for Aaron Neville, but apparently they're just calling him Neville now. Get rid of Adrian Neville, Adrian Neville, and they're just calling him Neville now, which I'm a fan of because I hated that name. I still don't like the name Neville. I think Aaron Neville, the singer that sings all funny, I think they should get rid of his name. Heck, I think that he's going to wrestle. I didn't realize it at this point, but later on in the show, so we'll get back to the Neville stuff in a second. But I want to talk about the WWE title being up for grabs. It was Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Yeah, the big thing. Seth Rollins got there, and they're going to fight. But there was no bell, and there was a little bit of brawling, mostly Seth trying to escape. But this was a big thing going on. Brock Lesnar lost his mind. He flipped the table, took Booker T. I thought poor Booker was dead, and JBL grabbed Michael Cole, F5'd him. I will say Michael Cole's lost a lot of weight, so kudos to him. I can't believe how much weight that guy's lost. I think the fans were going crazy. They were eating this up because it's something different. It's something different, and you see, as wrestling fans, in I guess the Attitude Era or whenever wrestling's good, that people, you can argue when it is, but I think wrestling is the best when you as a fan don't want to miss the show. There's an element of it being unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next, and I felt that when this Brock Lesnar thing happened. I think wrestling fans crave that. That's one of the things they crave. He just was going crazy. F5, the cameraman. I will find out who the indie guy was. I'm not quite sure who that was, but I'm sure it'll come out. You like to use the local guys. And then Steph came out, and Steph was like, Brock, put him down. Basically, don't do it again. Put him down. And he did put him down, but he did it again. So I thought it was also good because, they just ran roughshod. And it's kind of historical. If you remember a couple years ago, the Nexus thing, I would compare it loosely to that, where they took over the show and started breaking the ring down, beating everybody up. The thing that got Daniel Bryan fired. That was extremely historical at the time because if you look back, WWE has never done that, where it seems like they've lost control of their show. WWE's not big on losing control of things, as you probably know. That was a big step for them when they did it with the Nexus. They'll do it in a storyline, and as a wrestling fan, you kind of, it's a storyline. But when they make it feel real, and you're flipping by channels, and you're kind of a fan, but you see it going down, and it looks real, like they've lost control of their show, and it just feels so real when it's well done. They don't do that a lot. Again, the Nexus angle is the first time I can think about it. This is probably the second. I might be missing one or two, but I'm pretty sure Nexus was the first. So it was kind of like a little bit historical, and that's why it worked too. I think I'm a big fan of silence, but first let's talk about what happened. All that stuff, they go to commercials. Now they leave you wanting more. You come back from commercial, and another reason it worked, again, is the silence. You don't get that a lot, and I think wrestling fans are trained to think when there's silence on commentary, because commentary is so important to the show that it's eerie. It feels weird. Nobody's talking. And you're just watching. It's almost like you're watching a scene from a movie or something, but it's real life. It was really well done. I liked it. So basically, Brock Lesnar got suspended, and I got to wonder if they're doing that because I don't know what his new contract's like, but maybe because there's certain dates that he can't do and they don't want to overuse him, so they figure suspend him. And if you can't figure it out by now, Brock Lesnar is totally a babyface. It's been common. I've been saying that for months, but he's going to be a good guy, and I think that he will do good as a good guy. He'll do very well as a good guy. Fans love him. I think they're going to book him correctly. Again, I don't know the new contract, the terms of it, but I think that they could really, really get some mileage out of him, and he's kind of helping to change the perception of wrestling, and I guess I could say that. It's definitely changing things a little bit. So I'm glad for that, and I'm glad to see what they're going to do next. That was very effectively done. The next thing was, I guess they needed a match to kind of chill things out a little bit, and they decided to go with, I believe the next match was Stardust versus Damien Mizdow. Poor Stardust, after this great run with Goldust, he loses in this match to Damien Mizdow, who's great, I worry about Damien Mizdow and what's going to happen after this fizzles out, because he kind of his identity's with Miz, so they have something planned for him, they have a new character, because the guy, he's very talented, man. Every time they put him on TV with any character, he makes it work, so I hope they keep him around. The one thing I wasn't sure about and didn't like much was that with this whole segment, you put it on after a major angle happens, and I really do feel that Damien Mizdow and The Miz had some good stuff going on for the last couple months, working hard, making that angle work, and unfortunately, I worry that this angle may have gotten lost. I didn't agree. Doesn't matter what I think, but I didn't agree with the way they did it at Mania. I think that they could have done it a little differently to make the angle better. And plus, they put it on the pre-show, and now they kind of continued the Miz angle on Raw right after that major Brock Lesnar angle, which it's not Miz or Mizdow's fault, but it's going to kind of get lost in the shuffle. Hopefully it doesn't. Strange booking to put that there. I believe after that, speeding through here, Curtis Axel was in the ring. And we didn't know at the time, but he was going to take on Adrian Neville, who just has become Neville now. Neville is amazing in the ring, and if you've never seen him, it definitely was a treat last night for you to see him. But again, never a fan of his name. I think they should get rid of it and change it. I actually think that it's nothing personal. It's just business when I say this, but he's a little shorter. Typically WWE doesn't love that. He is put together. He's got good body, but he can fly. He does some really cool moves, and he's not an ugly guy or anything. He's got a unique look, but I'm wondering if they put him under a mask, it might even be better for him. Because think about it. I mean, Sin Cara, we saw the Lucha Dragons earlier. They were cool. I wonder if they get rid of Sin Cara and just put Neville under the mask and let those two team up. Make believe he's a Lucha Libre star. No one will know if he's under a mask. Can you imagine those two in the ring together? My gosh, Calisto or Samurai Del Sol and Neville? That'd be insane. We'll see what happens. I mean, who knows? You never know. Anything can happen in the WWE. Okay, so I like Curtis Axel with the Extreme Rules promo. He's still trying to make that go, and hey, good for him. The guy's experimenting. He's having fun. We get to watch it. I want to see him do well. Is he going to be a world champion? Probably not, but you never know. You really never know. And I've seen crazier stuff happen. Look at Al Snow in the head. He was experimenting, and look where that got him in ECW. It was really biggest run of his career. So I wish Curtis Axel the best. Hey, I'll watch as he's experimenting. Good for him. Okay, how about U.S. Champ Cena? He's out for what is kind of a promo, but more so his open challenge that's going on. Who could it be? Everyone's wondering. And Byron Saxton, by the way, came back and got on commentary since all the commentators were beat up and nobody could commentate. So he was by himself till the King came out. Thank God the King came out. That helped a lot. Byron Saxton says, curiously, here comes Rusev. So I'm okay, right? Okay, Rusev. Maybe we'll see what happens. Rusev come out, maybe win the title back. I'm looking. Where's Rusev? Then out comes Dean Ambrose. So he said, "Here comes Rusev." I don't know if he screwed the names up or he thought something else was going to happen. I don't know. But Dean Ambrose came out. He got a good reaction. I think Dean Ambrose has good things in store. I do think that what he was when he first broke away from the Shield, what he is now, are a little different. I feel like he had a more of a reality base when he left the Shield, and I feel like now he's become almost a caricature of himself, like a gimmick, like a WWE version of himself, which is fine because that's where he's at. And if that's what they want him to do, do it. And this is me saying this. I'm overanalyzing. A lot of WWE fans probably love him the same, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just something I always think of when I see him. The guy's talented. He's going to do well wherever you put him. He's proving that. And they give him some great booking, leading into everything since the Shield breakup. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, he comes out, fights Cena. It's a big brawl. And this is the point when they come back with King. Again, thank God on commentary. And King had a very interesting quote we'll get to in a minute. But, Ambrose does the big elbow. He's been does that to the outside. That was cool. Cena ends up taking it. Cena ends up winning with the AA and ends up shaking Dean Ambrose's hand. Kind of a show of respect. Matter of fact, I think Dean even actually said respect to him. And that's fine. That was cool that they did that, I guess. That's what they wanted to do. But speaking of, that kind of stuff, talking to each other in the ring, that's getting out of control too. I mean, I'm not a John Cena hater, but I've seen him do it a lot. He's a pretty bad offender of that. You can't just pass spots in the ring. Don't just yell them out. Try at least a cover. There's cameras. There's people. You don't want to do that. That got really bad in the Divas match. Matter of fact, that's the next match that we would see. The Divas 6-woman match, Natalya and the Bellas versus Paige, AJ, and I think it was Naomi, I believe. I didn't write down who that was. But, give the Divas a chance, as long as it's not on my Raw show after Mania, because I really don't want to see it too long. That's how I feel. I mean, even the King said, "I'm back here." This is the quote I'm talking about. The King said, "I'm back here, not because I want to be, but because of what happened earlier with Brock Lesnar's destroying everybody." So again, King, I'm back here, not because I want to be, but because I have to be, because of what happened earlier. I get what he's trying to say, but really? You don't even want to be here? Okay, interesting. So the commentator's on the show and he doesn't want to be here. As a fan, do I want to be there watching? Again, I'm overanalyzing, but come on. I mean, think about it. Right? I guess Lola doesn't want to be there. So we move on from there. The match is going on. And again, I think I said it went a little bit long for my tastes. Again, it's my tastes. The thing that drove me nuts was, and other people are guilty of it too, but I really saw it with her. Nikki Bella, caught on camera, right on her face, having a conversation, probably talking about what she's having for dinner. And you see it once, you figure, okay, it won't happen again. Be aware of where the cameras are, so you try not to do that. And you're a woman, you have long hair, there's no excuse. You should be able to cover up the passing of spots. But it happened more than once with Nikki, and I just wish that wouldn't happen anymore, because that's a big pet peeve. And I think that goes for anybody that is a true fan, or even that has been in the wrestling industry. I think they would agree with me. You can try to kind of mask the calling of spots a little bit. The winners were AJ, Paige, and Naomi. We saw Goldust versus Rusev, and angry Rusev went over Goldust, beat Goldust because of last night. He was still pretty mad. I think it's good. Rusev, I'm a big fan of him. He's getting better before our very eyes. I think he improves on everything every week, and I think he's going to be fun to watch in the future. And I think even working with Goldust, if it's one time that quick, he can learn from him. I mean, I think Goldust really helped the tag roster out with, when he was tagging with Cody, when they did all the stuff throughout, with the Usos. I think the Shield was involved in that stuff, and probably other people I'm not thinking of, but I think he really helped those kids because he really understands how to do a match and put it together and get the most out of it. It's kind of a dying art. He's one of the last of a dying breed, and it's good for Rusev to be able to work with him. Next, we're treated to, I guess it would be considered the main event. It's Seth Rollins, Kane, and Big Show versus Randy Orton, Ryback, who teams up with Orton, and Roman Reigns, who came out. I did think it was cool that, Big Show has his trophy from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, and he's got it out there. And I like that they displayed the title and the trophy together. I thought it was a nice little touch for the heels to do. Match was what it was. Roman Reigns, we'll see where he's headed, man. I mean, time will tell with him. I think there, again, is something there. I am not a Roman Reigns hater. I think that he's got so much potential. I can't understand why the fans don't like him. I mean, it makes no sense. WWE, you always say you want new talent. WWE gives you new talent, and then you don't like the new talent WWE gave you because they gave it to you. Does that make any sense? Again, this goes back to the chanting and cheering thing. It's fine to do that, but take a second and think, because you really make yourself out to be a fool sometimes if you don't do that. I mean, Roman Reigns is good. He just has to develop. You're jumping on him. It's almost like a bullying a kid at school that you shouldn't be bullying, and then you jump on him because you feel cool. Hey, man, be a star. Don't be doing that stuff. But Roman Reigns, you'll say, I think he's going to silence a lot of people. I think he'll be an excellent heel. I think he'll be a good face. I think they just need to find his niche. And the guy, he's got a lot of good qualities. I think that whole family does. I think the Usos have abundance of talent, too, that they could break out if need be, if that happens. I think that match, let's get back to that, was, again, what it was. But the shell shock on Big Show, woof, I can't believe, up like nothing. He put him up like nothing right back. That was really cool. What a bump for the Big Show to take, too, man. A little crazy there. I'm trying to think what else in the show that really stuck out to me. I think I heard, let's see, I wrote a couple notes down here. I think I heard that they were chanting the fans worse than Cena for Roman Reigns. Again, a dumb chant. Doesn't even make sense because Cena's not bad. When have you ever seen a bad match with John Cena? Never. He doesn't have bad matches. His matches are, I can't think of a bad one. He does great stuff for the kids outside of that. He gives what they give him and makes the best of it. The guy is talented, whether you like him or not. You don't have to. He has decent talent. Oh, well, they carry him to good matches. Ask people that know in wrestling. Just like people hate Randy Orton. Randy Orton is very talented. You just don't realize it until you really start dissecting what he does because he's so good. But yeah, worse than Cena? He's not worse than Cena. Roman Reigns is good. I mean, let's be honest about that. Raw ended, that was it. I mean, that was the end of our, I guess, WrestleMania week until the SmackDown. I guess they're doing a taping on Tuesday. And then we'll see what happens from there. But it's very excited. The road to WrestleMania, is, like I said, is in the rearview mirror now. And we're going to see where we go next. We'll have more WrestleMania content to stretch WrestleMania week out as long as we can for you coming up in the future. We'll keep listening. Make sure you follow me on Facebook at the TheBrianSoscia. That's BrianSoscia, The Brian Socia on Twitter. At BTM Wrestling, you can catch us there too. I'm on Facebook as Brian Socia as well. And Instagram as Socia Network, SOSCIA Network. A lot of fun, dopey wrestling pictures go up there from time to time. I think you'll enjoy it if you check it out. But thanks for checking this out. And again, an end to another WrestleMania week with another pretty good Raw. So we'll see where we go from here. And thanks again. Talk to you again soon.